Welcome to Fair Game. I'm Kristine Leahy. My guest today won Super Bowl 50 with the Denver Broncos as the relentless linebacker who led the team in tackles. Brandon Marshall, so good to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So there's a great story about you, and I've heard a lot of guys saying that it was like one person, one player, one guy who really gave them their start in the NFL.
Yeah.
Your story is really unique because it involves Peyton Manning.
Absolutely.
What is that story?
Oh man, I was actually came to Denver from Jacksonville on the practice squad. And so I was kind of feeling like I was on my last leg in the NFL, even though it was early on in my career. So I decided to, okay, well, I got to, bust my ass every day, So during practice, I would just go hard and I would just, try to compete, and I would make a lot of plays in practice. So one of the coaches came up to me and was like, yo, Peyton is vouching for you. It was actually my strength coach. And then then the offensive coordinator, who's now the Jets head coach, Adam Gase, would come up to me and was like, yo, you're doing a hell of a job. I'm going to try to get you off the practice squad. Because I guess Peyton was in the meeting room like, yo, who's this 54 kid and how come we can't block him? So, really, he actually helped me get my start, because if you get vouched for by Peyton Manning, the coaches have to listen.
So for you, when you're like, oh man, my career, I don't know what's going to happen, all of a sudden you have Peyton Manning vouching for you.
Right.
What's going through your head at that point?
Man, I'm like, well, it's kind of surreal, honestly. And I was like, man, really, Peyton? Because, growing up, you look up to Peyton and you watch him on TV, and then, now he's vouching to the coaches for you to get on the field. And I didn't know what to think, but I was elated, man. I was ecstatic. So, I just kept doing my thing, kept going. They didn't really have a spot for me. And then, Von Miller actually got hurt, and that's when they said, okay, B, it's your turn. Your turn.
Yep. Did you feel a lot of pressure at that point?
Not a lot, because they just wanted me to play special teams. And then the coach was like, okay, well, this is your audition. It was week 17, and we were going to the playoffs, and we were playing the Oakland Raiders. They said, okay, this is your audition to see if you're going to play in the playoffs or if you're going to be inactive. So I was like, okay, cool. So, in this game, I need to, give it my all. I had already been, working my craft in practice. So, I went out there and I did my thing, and they let me play in the playoffs. So it was dope.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Did you give Peyton a gift after that?
No, I just told him thank you, man. Honestly, I actually saw Peyton yesterday.
You did?
I did. I seen him yesterday in Denver.
For what? Like a Papa John's commercial?
No, he was working out at this place that I went to get treatment at. It's called Resilience Code, and he was there, and I just shook his hand, and he was getting his work in, and I was just like, yeah, what's going on? But Peyton's great, man. He's cool, he's real personable. He's always been one of my favorite guys.
Is he aware of what a difference he made on your career?
Absolutely. I let him know.
You do?
I let him know. Yeah, I told him.
What's it like going from the practice squad to a defense when you've got guys like Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware?
Man, it's a lot of pressure. It's exciting, I try not to put too much pressure on myself, but I was like, yo, this is dope, man. I get to play with, DeMarcus Ware, Keep Talib, TJ Ward, all those guys. Mm-hmm. And, I knew I could hold my own, so I just was confident in myself.
That team was the team that went to the Super Bowl, wound up losing by 35.
Oh, Lord.
I hear people say a lot of times that they learn more from a loss than they do a win.
Yeah.
For you, and obviously you were kind of new to it at that point, but what did the loss change for you?
Oh, man, I was still new, so honestly, I was still kind of happy I was there.
Okay.
To be honest, I know a lot of the guys that had been playing, they were upset, but obviously you learn a lot from the valleys than the mountaintops, right? You learn more from the valleys. So, we just took that and we was like, okay, cool. We gotta, bounce back. We gotta make sure that what happened in this last Super Bowl doesn't happen in the next one. So they actually signed new free agents. We reloaded. We didn't win the next year, but we won the year after that.
People always want to know the details about the Super Bowl after party when you win.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a party when you lost?
Absolutely, we did.
You did? Yeah. How was it?
Because these parties are pre-planned, and it was kind of boring. Everybody was in there, but it was kind of dead. The energy wasn't right, but
because you just lost.
Absolutely.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, but we still had some drinks. The head coach came up to me. And, I smell alcohol on his breath, what I'm saying? But I get it, we just lost the Super Bowl, so, but we still had an okay time.
I love that you pointed out that your head coach had alcohol in his breath.
Yeah.
Like, you were really happy about that.
Yeah, because, he was enjoying himself, and I get it. I'm like, cool, because I'm going to start drinking as well.
Yeah, they gave you the okay to do it.
Absolutely.
So that next year, you started 13 games. You had 95 solo tackles, which at the time was 8th most in the league, which was more than Clay Matthews, J.J. Watt, and Von Miller. All those guys went to the Pro Bowl, but you didn't.
Right.
Did you feel like you were being overlooked at the time?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times, you have to have multiple good seasons to get a Pro Bowl nod, So that was my first time really playing, really starting, really making an impact. So, I was, relatively new, so I wasn't going to get a lot of votes.
So then the following season, you guys go back to the Super Bowl. Everyone was talking about the Panthers' offense, but then you guys came into the game and you did very well.
Yeah.
And people were surprised of how you were able to dominate Cam Newton. Were you guys surprised by that?
Absolutely not.
No.
We weren't surprised. Actually during that week, we had a little players-only meeting, and Aqib Talib was like, "Yo, watch their film. Look at the defenses that they played and how they dominated these defenses, and they've never faced a defense like us all season." So I literally went down the list and saw every team they played. I'm like, oh my God, like all these defenses weren't that good, honestly. So I was like, cool. So we're gonna go in, and I think we had a great plan, and I knew we was gonna dominate.
So was it that you guys were just a great defense, or did you specifically plan for him and you knew his weaknesses?
Both.
Oh, you look like
Absolutely.
You're still so proud about this.
Absolutely.
Like
both, man. I feel like we were easily one of the best defenses of all time, easily. And so we had a great plan. Wade Phillips is a great defensive coordinator. He had a plan for Cam, and we shut him down.
What was the biggest difference between the team in 13 and 15 that you were able to win?
Well, I would say the team in 13 was kind of injured. We came in with some injuries on defense, but that team in 15, we had a lot of swagger, man. It was a lot of camaraderie, a lot of closeness with that team. Everybody was, was striving towards the same goal. We all were close. We all were friends. You know what I mean? And we did everything together. It felt like so. Once we went to the game, we knew that we had it on lock.
So a lot of it was chemistry too.
Chemistry was great.
When you were released by the Broncos, how did that feel for you?
I kind of saw it coming. I kind of saw it coming because, the year I had a team option on my contract. So I knew, okay, so this is a very important year for me. And they ended up drafting the kid in like the 4th round. So I'm like, okay.
Is that when you knew?
That's not what I knew, but I knew because, I was the start of the whole camp, everything, preseason, but the night before the first game, coach comes up to me, my linebacker coach, and says, all right, Brandon, at some point during the game, we're going to take you out, I'm going to put him in. And I thought that was absurd because I'm like, yo, like that has never happened to me in my whole 10 years starting here. So, why are you going to take me out and give him a chance? I'm like, okay, cool. So they trying to work him in and work me out. So I told myself, okay, so it's go time, right? It's go time. But unfortunately, I ended up catching a knee injury like the second game, and I just couldn't get it right that whole season, so I couldn't even compete for my spot.
That's pretty. Is it typical that they tell you, hey, we are working the new guy in, and you're on your way out?
No, it's not. It's not typical, but you know what? My coach, man, Reggie Herring, man, I love that guy, man. He always kept it 100 with me. Always was honest and real about the situation. So he didn't tell me right then, but later in the season, he was like, look, Brandon, this kid's the future. They want to play this kid.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry, but and he has to do what what the higher ups tell him. And I get it, and I was thankful that he told me, but it was kind of disheartening because I had been there a long time, and I thought they valued me. But it's a contract thing sometimes.
Check out our YouTube channel, FairGame on FS1 to catch all the best highlights of our show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.